Hey, Algebra 2. Welcome to our third unit, Systems, and it starts off very similar to the Systems unit you know and love from Algebra 1. In Algebra 1, you did systems of two equations that had two variables. We're going to start with systems of three equations and three variables. And we have a cool way of checking our answer too that'll be new to this year. But the rest of it is just a longer, more complicated version of what you did in Algebra 1. So stepwise, there's a lot here. I'm not going to just sit here and read all these to you because I don't think that's a super good use of your time. If you are doing this on regular paper, I wouldn't even bother writing these down. You can just wait till I hand out the notes. Apologies to those who didn't get the notes to before if you're home, but that's okay. You don't really need to write these down. I don't know many people who go back to this to figure out what to do unless it's been a really long time. So let's just try to do an example and we'll refer back to this. Okay, so here it is, three equations, three variables, x, y, and z. We're not going to tackle all three at the same time. We're going to take two of them, any two actually, and try to eliminate a variable. So which variable doesn't matter. So you look at the one where you can get rid of the easiest. So what I do is I look at the coefficients and I think, well, if any of them are already the same, then those two are probably the easiest ones. 4, 2, -1, not all the same. Nothing all the same with the y's and nothing all the same with the z's. So the next thing I do is, can I just change one of them so that it matches the other one? And remember, ideally you want opposite signs as well, so we don't have to add a negative or multiply by a negative if we don't have to. What I'm saying is -1x and 2x would be a nice easy thing to get rid of, because all I would have to do is multiply this one by 2. So that I will have a 2x and a -2x. I don't really care what happens to the rest of it. It's just going to be a consequence of me multiplying by 2. So we can say like step 1 is 2x plus y. So this one doesn't change at all. I didn't have to do anything to that one. But this one here, I'm going to distribute this 2 through to all 4 terms. And I get -2x. I get 4y. I get -10z and 34. Sorry for the bad writing here. And then I add. So this is the elimination method. Remember from we had a delta assignment that helped us remember elimination method, because when I add 2x and -2x, I get 0. And that's what I want. I want to slowly get rid of variables so I'm down to just 1. And then I add 1 plus 4 is 5y minus 7, whoop, I wrote a big z, minus 7z equals 34. And there's nothing I can do. I can't go beyond that because I still have two variables. But I want to hold on to that one. I'm going to need it in a minute. Now I come back here and maybe I get rid of this because I don't need to do that again. I need to use another combination. I can't use the same one, and I want to get rid of x again. So I either need to get rid of I either use these two or some other combination. And the ones that I underline, I think I'm gonna go for here. So I can multiply this one by 2 so that the 4's match, but I'll have positive and positive 4. So I want a positive and a -4. So I'm going to do that. So let me separate this area. I'll use a different color too. Use this teal color. So this will be step 2. And I'm going to rewrite the top one because that one did not change. And I'm going to get, let's see, -4x, that's what I wanted. -2y, -6z, and then times 0 is still 0. That one works out nicely. Cross those off. I get -5y. -5z equals -10. Okay, so there's my Next one. Now it's exactly like Algebra 1, where I have these two equations, the two that I just starred, and I can combine them to hopefully get rid of one of the variables so that I have just y or z left. So that's what I'm going to do. And it just happened to work out so nicely that my 5y and my negative 5y means I don't have to change anything. So sometimes you have to multiply one of them again so that they're opposites. But this time I didn't do anything. So I'm going to change my color again. And I'm going to say step 3 would just be adding these two together. 5y minus 7z is 34. And negative 5y minus 5z is negative 10. Scroll down a bit. So they go away. I get negative 12z equals, and this will be 24. And that leaves me with z equals negative 2. That's just one of them, but it gets faster after this. You do not need to go through that whole process again to get x and y. Now we can work our way backwards. We use a new color. Well, yeah. Use poopy brown. So this will be step 4. I guess it looks more green than brown. And I'm going to take one of the equations that I started originally. So either this one or this one. Doesn't matter which. And I'm going to plug my z into it to solve for y. I'll use the one that's not as negative, I guess. So let me just narrate this. So we'll plug in z. So 5y minus 7z equals 34. So 5y minus 7 times negative 2 equals 34. This will be 5y plus 14. Okay, I'm going to subtract 14 from both sides and end up with 5y equals 20 and y equals 4. All right, we're almost there. We got 2 of them so far. Now x is even easier. I just go back to, I can't use any of these starred ones because they don't have an x. I got rid of x right away. So instead I'm going to go back to one of the originals. And again, it doesn't matter which one you use. You just need to pick one. So let's pick this one here. So I'm going to rewrite that. Use the paper because I can't see it at the same time. My last color, oh, I don't know. How about this blue-gray color? And last step, we'll say, I think I said this one, 2x plus y plus 3z equals 0. Now I'm going to plug in everything but x, so 2x plus 4 plus 3 times negative 2 equals 0. Give myself a little more room. So this would be 4 plus negative 6, so minus 2 equals 0, which you just move that 2 over and you end up with x equals 1. Okay, so that's a lot. That's a lot of work for one problem. That's the hallmark of these. It is a lot of work. You can see, by scrolling, you can see it still took me a while, even though I knew every step. So I imagine these aren't fun if you're not sure what to do, but you really have to keep yourself organized. And numbering them will really help you when you go back to look at how to do these. How did I do this in my notes? If you have them numbered, you can follow your steps a whole lot easier. And now I said things that you might want to write. So if you didn't write, some of what these steps mean, and you go back and you're confused, it might help to just put a little narration on some of these parts to say like, oh, he's getting rid of the x here. He's multiplying here to make them match. Whatever you want to do. I don't write everything that you might want to write in your notes, but it's something you might want to do. Okay, so for a check. Now we could just plug all 3 values into all 3 equations, and that would be one way to check. But you have a really powerful calculator in your hand. Well, it's not as powerful as computer, but it can actually solve this really quickly. So I'm going to take a second here and show you how to use matrices on your calculator to get the answer instantly. Okay, so once you have your calculator out, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the button that says matrix, and that is if you hit second and then the X, I think it's so blurry, X to the -1 or something like that, button, but you can see in blue it says matrix. And you get this right here. So we want to edit, we want to create a matrix, so you have to move to the right over to edit, and A is fine. You can have multiple matrices at once. And because this is a system of 3 equations, we want 3 rows, and we want 4 terms each. So we're going to do I'm going to end up doing this wrong. I think it's a 4 by 3, or 3 by, I think 3 by 4. Let me just see. We'll figure it out. Okay, yeah, 3 by 4. 3 rows, 4 columns. And you only have to put the coefficients in. So we ignore all the variables. We're just going to type, so this first row is going to be 4. And you can use the enter button. Arrow doesn't work. Every time you type a coefficient. So 4, -3, not 33. 1, remember just Z means 1. And then your answer on the right side is also one of the values that we need. Now, if your equations weren't set up X, Y, Z, answer, X, Y, Z, answer, you'd have to rearrange them so that they all matched up. So just be mindful that the calculator's smart, but it's not that smart. It doesn't know when you have things out of order. So 2, 1, 3, 0. And then -1, 2, -5, 17. It's a good idea right here to just double check, because you are going to be wrong if even a negative is off. Your answer will be very different, and it'll be very frustrating. So just do a double check. I'm looking back and forth. Everything looks like it's good. Okay, next step is to take your matrix, and we're gonna do a little magic with it. So you're gonna hit that matrix button again. Actually, what I like to do is quit. I like to just quit out of this. It'll save it in A now. Now go back to matrix, and you want to go to math. So you can see right here in the names, A has a 3 by 4 matrix in it. Math, and then we want to go down. It's actually easier to go backwards. And we want RREF parentheses. That's the one we want. That's one's going to give us our answer. So on the home screen, you should see this, and they want you to fill it in with a matrix. So we're going to hit second matrix again, and tap on where it says named. We're going to pick we're going to close that parenthesis, and it's going to pop out this like solved matrix. And we're going to get for our answers 1, 4, and -2. And they go in the same order. You can see where the 1 is. That's what they solved for. So X, Y, Z, it goes in that order because we put it from left to right in that order, is 1, 4, 2. If you look at our answers, X was 1, Y was 4, and Z was -2. So you can do these problems super fast on the calculator, but guess what this doesn't show you? It doesn't show you any work whatsoever, not even a hint of work. It is an answer checker. That is it. So if it's a part 1 question, you can just get your answer, which is probably why you don't see them on part 1s that much. But imagine on part 2 where you have to show all this work, and then to know you're right at the end is a wonderful tool. Okay. Here are the steps of doing what I just did, so if you are confused by anything I said, this will help you right here. Okay, so in order to keep this video as short as possible, I'm not going to do 2, but what's nice is you have a way of checking. I could tell you the 3 answers right now, but I'd rather you practice using the calculator to check your own answer and not rely on someone else telling you what the answers are. So this one's not any more difficult. In fact, in some ways it's easier than the last one. Just remember that all these coefficients here are 1s or -1s where there's not a number, a lot of 1s. So just work on this one, check your answer. If you got it, then you're golden. I'm not even going to make you do this next one. You can try it if you want. It's actually even easier, and it might be, sometimes when we take away things to make it easier, it can confuse us. So like 2 of these have no third variable, but it technically should make it easier, but I could see where this one might be a little confusing. And this one, you can use the matrix to cheat and get an answer with, but you'd have to fill in the spot that doesn't have the variable. So in this first one, for instance, there is no C value. So in the matrix, you'd have to think of it like this. -1a, so you put a -1 in, plus 2b, so you put a 2 in, then plus 0c, so you'd have to put a 0 in for the third spot, equals -8, you put a -8 in for the last spot. So in this next one, you have to make sure you put 0a, and then continue on the rest, and then the third one has them all in already. So when you're doing the matrix check, that's what you want to do. And then lastly is this word problem, and I'm going to count this as a bonus. If you come in, or if you submit your notes and this one's done and correct, I'll add some points onto your notes. All right, remind me too, because I'm saying it now, but I'll forget later. So if you notice you did it and you didn't get the bonus points, yell, and then I'll remember to check everyone's. Okay, so under 20 minutes, that's good. I know I only did one example, but really they're all the same after that. So good luck. Please ask if you have any questions. We'll have all class time next time to work out any kinks. All right, have a good night.